Hello again. So we're going to be doing the mindfulness of breathing now. So if you'd like to set yourselves up, either comfortably on a chair or on cushions on the floor or whatever else you're going to use to sit comfortably. So it's good to have an upright posture, preferably not leaning against anything. We want a sitting posture that is awake, alive, grounded. And it's always good to begin with connecting with our bodily sensations. So aware of your buttocks on the seat, your feet on the floor, or if you're on the ground, it'll be your legs and feet that are on the floor. And we allow the mind and body to settle, just to become still and quiet. Still and quiet. We notice any tension in the body and we give it permission to relax, allowing ourselves to be at ease. And whatever busyness we have in our mind, whatever thoughts crop up throughout the meditation, we see them as if they were clouds passing through an open sky. So that's our mind, an open sky. It doesn't have to be clustered with all the thoughts, all the things we're going to do later when we finish the meditation. So see if we can let go into that bigger space and have a sky-like mind. So now we're going to gradually take our attention to the fact that we're breathing. We know it goes on, but we're not usually aware of it. So gently bringing the attention to the breath. We can start to notice whether it's shallow or deep. And see if you can be aware of the breath in your belly. So sometimes when we think of the breath, we have the idea that it's in the chest, because we can feel the lungs expanding, as well as the ribs lifting with each in-breath. But see if we can bring more awareness to the breath in the belly. As we breathe in, the belly rises and it falls back on the out-breath. So you might notice that the breath, we can be aware of it from the time it enters our nose or throat. We can notice it in our chest, in our belly. And maybe if we're used to bringing attention to our body, we might even notice the breath in other places, such as our hips, our shoulders, our back. So we're not going to try to experience it any particular place, just noticing the in-breath and the out-breath. And then in this first stage, we're going to particularly notice the out-breath. Yes, we'll notice the whole of the breath, the in-breath and the out-breath, but just notice that with the out-breath there's a sense of relaxation, giving up the breath. It's like a nice sigh of contentment. Ah, the out-breath. So we give up the out-breath, and when we get to the very end of the out-breath, we drop in that quiet count. So at the end of each out-breath, we drop in the quiet count with the first out breath 1, the second out breath 2, the third 3, and so on up to 10. And any time we lose our way, we come back to 1. We're not trying to perfect the counting. We're just trying to keep attention with the breath as much as possible without putting in too much effort. And any time that we get distracted, doesn't matter if we've only got to 3, we think, what number was I on? Just come back to 1. So I'm going to be quiet now while we spend a few minutes dropping in the quiet count at the end of every out breath. So we're going to move on now to the second stage. So here we're going to drop in the quiet count. We still keep the count, but now it's going to be placed at the beginning of each in-breath. We might notice that the in-breath has more of a sense of energizing us. Taking in the breath, there's a sense of uplift, energy. Just as we're about to breathe in, we drop in that quiet count just in the same way, from 1 to 10. But we don't need to worry about perfecting, getting to 10. Try and be uncritical and relaxed with the practice, remembering that it's a practice. So I'm going to be quiet now while we watch the breath, the in-breath and the out-breath, and just before each in-breath we drop in the quiet count. If the meditation starts to feel a bit mechanical and the breath isn't comfortable anymore, just stop meditating for a moment or two and relax the breath. You might find that when you come back to the breath, it feels more easy and soft. The breath resumes a natural rise and fall, coming and going. So now we'll move on to the third stage. And here we are able to drop the count, but still maintaining our focus on the breath. And maybe we could have a broad awareness of the breath in the whole body, allowing our whole body to be breathed by the breath, giving ourselves over to the breath. But if we find that we need an anchor, we could choose a place where the breath feels pleasant or content, maybe in the belly, or maybe it feels energetic and lively in the throat. We can choose for ourselves some place in the body where we can let our attention rest. Or we can simply follow the whole of the breath coming into the body and leaving the body, aware of all the sensations caused by the breathing, noticing the rise and fall of the chest and the belly. So dropping the count and maintaining our warm, curious interest in the breath in the body. And now I'll be quiet again. Where is your mind now? If we find we've drifted off It's really important not to criticize ourselves. That's what the mind does. We don't have to take it too seriously. All we need to do is remind ourselves that we're giving this warm attention to the breath. So moving into the final stage, we're now going to see if we can find the place where we first feel the physical sensation of the breath entering our body. So that's usually at one or other of our nostrils. Probably one nostril's more sensitive than the other. So we're looking for that very fine, cool sensation as the air becomes the breath as it enters our body. But if you haven't got a sensitive nose, it might be that you have your lips very slightly parted and you can feel the cool air on your lips or a particular place on the lips. Or maybe you detect the sensation on the upper lip, between the lips and the nose. So we look for that very particular place where the sensation is most acute, most obvious. And we let our attention rest there. Rest there as deeply as we can. Right at that place, that fine sensation. See if you can allow yourself to be absorbed in that sensation. And I'll be quiet now. We can keep relaxing more deeply into that sensation. And as we bring the meditation to a close, we take our time, we don't rush. Perhaps we notice how we're feeling, any effect that the meditation has had. Perhaps we feel a bit calmer. Or maybe we got bored or fell asleep. It doesn't matter. The main thing is to notice. Notice what happened. And that will help you engage with the practice again when you do it next time. So that's the mindfulness of breathing. For those of you that are wanting to join Bodhisattva's Going Deeper into Meditation course that starts later this month in May, you'll need to have learnt and practiced this mindfulness of breathing at least a few times so that you feel familiar with it. Okay, see you again. Bye-bye.